The principle that I'm going to start with is we are channels for the divine to serve through us. And again, Swami's advice, seeing God as the doer, and longer, deeper meditation, and seeing God as the doer. Well, what does that mean? You've probably all heard that phrase before, but what does it really mean to see God as the doer? Well, the more we can, before we begin to serve, feel that there's a divine flow coming through us, feel that it's not just us doing it, but we're sustained by a supporting consciousness underneath us. I had a very powerful experience with this personally. The very first big public talk Swami asked us to do, he was giving a big program in San Francisco at the Palace of Fine Arts, and there were 600 or 700 people, maybe more. And it was a weekend program. And then Saturday night, he said to us, I want the two of you, Jyotish and Devi, to speak at Sunday service. Well, I had given little classes before to a handful of people, but nothing on this scale. And I just froze. I thought, oh, this is way more than I can do. And then he said, well, think about it. I mean, we didn't say no. We said, sure, Swami. And then, so that night he told us what the topic was, and we were thinking about it. And then he said, you just sit in the front row and I'll call you when to come up. Well, you can imagine, I was sitting there, and the whole time, to my shame, my mantra was, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, which was true. But then I could tell he was winding up his talk, and his eyes started to come over to me. And I felt like a physical force, like him reaching out his hand. And he just said, be open, I'll do it through you. And that's what happened. I got up there, we both came up, and there's a photo of it somewhere. I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it, of us standing there giving the talk, and Swami's over to the side. But it was such a clear feeling that I am not doing this. The clarity, the thoughts, the illustrations, all of it. And from that moment, I have never really been nervous about public speaking. But what's the point there? If we think God's the doer, to step out of your comfort zone. Maybe you don't know how to fix that computer. Maybe you don't know how to give an answer to this troubled person, or whatever it might be. But if you just stop and say, God, I want to be your instrument. I want to help people. I want to find the answer. And if you step out of your comfort zone, if you're in your comfort zone, I know how to do this. This is easy for me. You will never feel that God is the doer. But it's, for example, when you're asked to sing a solo and you haven't really rehearsed, and there you have to do it, you just say, God, you sing through me. Swami, you sing through me. And in every little instance in life, if you can just challenge yourself and then just say, okay, you take over at this point. And the more you do this, the more you feel God's presence with you, acting through you in little ways and in big ways. And then, our lives, as Jyotish said, Master said our path was a combination of meditation and service. But remember, lest you think, well, it's just all about, metaphysical experiences. You all know autobiography. What happened in the chapter, my experience in cosmic consciousness? Soon as that experience was over, what did Sri Yukteswar said? Go get a broom. We have to sweep the porch. There's much work to be done. And that's the point. We may go very deep and we may have very deep and expanded experiences in meditation. But in this life, Master's mission is to bring light into the world, and that's the core of our seva, and it's central to our path at this time. Maybe in the future we'll all be in the Himalayas meditating all the time, and that'll be it. Will that be a better life? Not necessarily. It's just what will be appropriate at that time. And so to look at your life and say, what's the next step for me? How can I move it forward? How can I always see that God's the doer? And just to pause, I'm looking around and I see a lot of our wonderful young members, residents here. Almost every one of them have been asked to take on a job that they didn't think they could do, that seemed way beyond their scope, but they said yes, and God has worked through them. So thank you all.